Love stories begin in different ways. Some happen slowly, some arrive unexpectedly, and some grow softly over time until one day two people look at each other and know, this is home. That is the story of Jon Gosselin and Stephanie Gosselin, a couple whose journey has taken them from friendship to partnership, from laughter-filled nights to a heartfelt ceremony that officially sealed their lives together as husband and wife. Today we explore the emotional and real story of the new Mr. and Mrs. Gosselin, a couple whose love proves that the right person brings peace, healing, and a sense of belonging that nothing else can. Their wedding day begins with excitement, smiles, and a sense of disbelief. Standing before the camera, Jon Gosselin proudly introduces them with a full heart, saying it is his honor to present Mr. and Mrs. Gosselin for the first time. Stephanie Gosselin, glowing in joy, laughs as she says hearing her new name is everything she dreamed of. She admits she never expected the moment to feel so powerful, and she still hasn't fully processed it. Perhaps that is because they already felt like husband and wife long before the ceremony. They lived together, shared daily life, and built a foundation that felt stable and mature. But now that their marriage is official, she plans to have fun with her new title. From this day forward, she jokes that she will be calling him husband constantly, reminding him with playful exaggeration who he belongs to. Their love story didn't have one dramatic turning point, it grew naturally. Jon recalls the moment he realized how special their bond was. It was about 3 years earlier during a trip to Miami, where he and Stephanie traveled for professional appearances. He remembers that everything was easy with her. There was no pressure, no need to guide her through the fast-paced world he lived in. Instead, he found himself traveling with someone who wasn't just a partner, but his best friend. They shared the same energy, the same sense of humor, and the comfort of knowing they could navigate life side by side without effort. For Stephanie, the realization came instantly. With Jon, she felt something she had not experienced before. She could be fully herself. She could laugh freely, be open, relax, and feel emotionally safe. What stood out most to her was their shared laughter. They were goofy, joyful, and lighthearted together. That laughter became one of the strongest foundations of their relationship. She fell in love not just with the man he was, but with the way he made her feel like she could breathe. With him, she wasn't performing, she was home. When it came time to propose, Jon Gosselin knew he wanted to honor tradition. Stephanie has strong family values, especially regarding her parents, so he decided to follow an old-world approach. Before proposing, he visited her father and asked for permission to marry her. He did it quietly, respectfully, and without letting Stephanie know what was coming. They planned a dinner disguised as a Thanksgiving gathering, complete with both of their parents present. Stephanie was confused at first and didn't understand why they had gathered outside of the holiday itself. But the moment Jon began speaking, she realized what was happening. She said yes immediately, no hesitation, no doubt. It was the perfect moment in the perfect setting, surrounded by the people who mattered most. When it came time to write his vows, Jon wanted them to reflect the depth of his feelings, but he admits writing is not his strongest skill. He is more comfortable speaking than turning emotions into structured sentences. To help himself convey everything he felt, he wrote down a list of qualities he loved about Stephanie, everything that inspired him, and everything he wanted to promise. Then he used technology to organize those thoughts before rewriting the final version in his own voice. He revisited his words over and over, not to make them sound perfect, but to make sure they represented him honestly. What he wrote had meaning because it came from a man who had lived, learned, and grown. On the day of the ceremony, Jon Gosselin began his vows with a message that left everyone in the room emotional. He promised that every morning when he wakes up and every night before he falls asleep, his favorite place would always be beside her. No matter where they were, he pledged to hold her hand through darkness, chaos, and magic, facing everything together. He vowed not just love, but daily commitment, the choice to choose her again and again for the rest of their lives. Stephanie also brought her humor into her vows. She is serious by nature, but she believes that laughter is essential to getting through life. She wanted their vows to reflect who they truly are, not flowery fantasy, but real people in love. Even though they both could have written long letters or chapters, they kept their vows to a length that respected their guests and stayed true to themselves. Yet, even short vows carried enormous meaning. The moment that truly broke Jon's composure came when he reached the part of his vow that included Juliana, Stephanie's daughter. He promised to love her as his own, to treat her with the same tenderness, guidance, and presence he gives his own children. In that moment, his voice cracked. His friends, men he described as strong and emotion-resistant, had joked that he wouldn't cry. But when he saw Stephanie waking down the aisle, he felt tears forming, and reading the vow about Juliana made them impossible to hold back. Stephanie had no idea he planned to include her daughter in such a meaningful way, and hearing it on their wedding day meant everything to her. It showed that Jon wasn't just promising to love a wife, he was promising to love a family. Looking back on his life, Jon Gosselin recognizes that certain hardships and public challenges were necessary. He grew up in the public eye, which forced him to mature faster than most. He made mistakes but learned from them. Those experiences taught him how to read people, how to handle pressure, and how to move forward. If he could speak to his younger self, he would tell him not to worry, because he would eventually find someone who understood him. That someone was completely different from past relationships. So different that even his friends asked where he found her. The answer was simple: at a family barbecue at Dean's sister's house. A moment that seemed ordinary turned out to be life-changing. As time passed, he realized how much easier life became when shared with someone who aligned with his values: family, growth, patience, and stability. Stephanie helped soften him after difficult transitions. He admits that after divorce he became emotionally guarded, willing to cut people out quickly and see things in black and white. She showed him there are shades of understanding. She helped him become more compassionate, particularly with his children, and encouraged him to see situations with empathy rather than defensiveness. She made him not just a happier man, but a better one. For Stephanie, the transformation was different. She says Jon didn't change her. He allowed her to finally stop being closed off. He created a space where she could be vulnerable without fear. Outside of her closest family, he is the first person she could completely open her heart to. Instead of shaping her into someone new, he let her grow into the woman she was always meant to be. Finally, when the officiant announced the new couple as Mr. and Mrs. Jon Gosselin, the room erupted in applause. Friends and family stood cheering, celebrating the beginning of a new chapter. It wasn't just a marriage. It was the joining of hearts, the grounding of two lives, and the forming of a complete family. Some love stories are loud and chaotic, others are gentle and patient. But this one reflects real life. The kind of love that grows through shared experiences, respect, companionship, and the choice to stay day after day. Their story proves that you don't need fireworks or dramatic twists. Sometimes all you need is someone who looks at you and says, "I choose you." Today, tomorrow, and every day after. Their story has only begun. The vows have been spoken, the families have united, and the future stretches out before them. With love, laughter, patience, and strength, Jon Gosselin and Stephanie Gosselin now step forward into the next chapter of a love that feels like home.